This is the third installment of selections from the Hagakure. One can say that formerly, when a man reached the age of 20 or 30, he did not carry despicable things in his heart, and thus neither did such words appear. If an elder unwittingly said something of that sort, he thought of it as a sort of injury. This new custom probably appears because people attach importance to being beautiful before society and to household finances. What things a person should be able to accomplish if he had no haughtiness concerning his place in society. It is a wretched thing that the young men of today are so contriving and proud of their material possessions. Men with contriving hearts are lacking in duty. Lacking in duty, they will have no self-respect. One should look at many people and choose from each person his best point only. For example, this person for politeness, one person for bravery, that person for the proper way of speaking, this person for correct conduct, and one for steadiness of mind. Thus will the model be made. An apprentice will not be up to his teacher's good points in the world of the arts, either, but will receive and imitate only his bad ones. This is worthless. There are good people who are good at manners but have no uprightness. In imitating someone like this, one is likely to ignore the politeness and imitate only the lack of uprightness. If one perceives a person's good points, he will have a model teacher for anything. When delivering something like an important letter or other written materials, grab it firmly in your hand as you go, and do not release it once, but hand it directly over to the recipient. A retainer is a man who remains consistently undistracted for 24 hours a day, whether he is in the presence of his master or in public. If one is careless during his rest period, the public will see him as only being careless. It is a regrettable thing to put forth much effort and in the end become an artist. In artistic technique, it is good to learn to the extent that you will not be lacking. In general, a person who is versatile in many things is considered to be vulgar, and to only have a broad knowledge of matters of importance. When something is said to you by the master, whether it is for your good or bad fortune, to withdraw in silence shows perplexity. You should have some appropriate response. It is important to have resolution beforehand. Moreover, if at the time you are asked to perform some function you have a deep happiness or great pride, it will show exactly as that on your face. This has been seen in many people and is rather unbecoming. But another type of person knows his own defects and thinks, I am a clumsy person, but I've been asked to do this thing anyway. Now how am I going to go about it? I can see that this is going to be much trouble and cause for concern. Though these words are never said, they will appear on the surface. This shows modesty. By inconsistency and frivolity, we stray from the way and show ourselves to be beginners. In this we do much harm. Learning is a good thing, but it often leads to mistakes. It is like the admonition of the priest Conan. It is worthwhile just looking at the deeds of accomplished persons for the purpose of knowing our own insufficiencies. But often this does not happen. For the most part, we admire our own opinions and become fond of arguing. Last year at a great conference there was a certain man who explained his dissenting opinion and said that he was resolved to kill the conference leader if he was not accepted. His motion was passed. After the procedures were over, the man said, "Their assent came quickly. I think they are too weak and unreliable to be counselors to the master." When an official place is extremely busy, and someone comes in thoughtlessly with some business or other, often there are people who will treat him coldly and become angry. This is not good at all. At such times, the etiquette of a samurai is to calm himself and deal with the person in a good manner. To treat a person harshly is is the way of middle-class lackeys. In the words of the ancients, one should make his decisions within the space of 7 breaths. If discrimination is long, it will spoil. When manners are done leisurely, 7 out of 10 will turn out badly. A warrior is a person who does things quickly. It is a matter of being determined and having the spirit to break right through to the other side. If one has not been a ronin at least 7 times, he will not be a true retainer. 7 times down, 8 times up. Illness and the like become serious because of one's feelings. I was born when my father was 71 years old, and hence I was a rather sickly child. But because I have had the great desire to be of use even in old age, when the chance came I improved my health and have not been sick since. I have abstained from sex and have consistently taken moxa coterie. These are things I feel have definitely had effect. Military affairs are not matters for one person alone, regardless of how useful he tries to be. Money is something that one can borrow from people, but having a good man cannot suddenly be come by. One should sustain a man kindly and well from the first. And in having retainers, it will not do to nourish oneself alone. If you divide what you have and feed your lower ranks, you will be able to hold good men. A person who is discreet in speaking will be useful during the good times and will avoid punishment during the bad. Being superior to others is nothing more than having people talk about your affairs and then listening to their opinions. The general run of people settle for their own opinions and thus never excel. Having a discussion with a person is one step in excelling him. A certain person discussing with me the written materials at the clan office, he is better than someone like me in writing and researching. In seeking correction from others, you excel them. There is something to be learned. Okay, this is, I think, one of my favorite passages. And actually, it's raining outside right now, too. There is something to be learned from a rainstorm. When meeting with a sudden shower, you try not to get wet, and you run quickly along the road. But doing such things as passing under the eaves of houses, you still get wet. When you are resolved from the beginning, you will not be perplexed. And though you will still get the same soaking, this understanding extends to everything. In China, there was once a man who liked pictures of dragons, and his clothing and furnishings were all designed accordingly. His deep affection for dragons was brought to the attention of the dragon god, and one day a real dragon appeared before his window. It is said that that night he died of fright. He was probably a man who always spoke big words, but acted differently when facing the real thing. There was a certain person who was a master of the spear. When he was dying, he called his best disciple and spoke his last injunctions. I have passed on to you all the secret techniques of this school, and there is nothing left to say. If you think of taking on this discipline yourself, you should practice diligently with a bamboo sword every day. Superiority is not just a matter of secret techniques. If you found this video useful, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a pleasant evening.